Okay, 8th period. This is the first half of the chapter 4 review. I'm going to go through probably just this front side with you, and then tomorrow we'll do the back side. So I'm going to go through these problems. As I go through them, it wouldn't be a bad idea for you to pause the video and attempt them on your own. And then I'll go through it and I'll, like reveal the answer. So make sure that you're, trying to understand what's going on as we go through here. So that way you can clear up any mistakes or anything that you're doing that's not quite right. So the top part 1 through 10 is all from section 4.1. I have them sectioned out by, or broken down by sections. So 4.1, this is all like having to do with exponents and combining like terms and that type of thing. And then the bottom part is 4.3, and I lumped 4.8 stuff in there, okay? So 4.3 is going to be like the long and synthetic division, and then the 4.8 stuff is like plugging the number in to see what the remainder would be, okay? And then telling whether that remainder is a factor. And so we have 3 of those problems that we're going to do, but 4.3 and 4.8 kind of go together, so that's why I lumped them together. And then tomorrow we'll do the back part, starting with, like, there's a 4.4 section, there's a 4.5 section, all that good stuff, okay? So this top part here, 4.1, okay, we are multiplying these 3 pieces together. And when we're multiplying like that, we add the exponents. So 12, -4, and 6, okay? Maybe right at the top of your paper, like, I always put, like, the difference between x squared times x to the 3rd power versus x squared to the 3rd power, okay? This, when it's written like this is when you add. So I'm going to put equals add, and that's x to the 5th power. This equals multiply. This is when you multiply the exponents, okay? And that's x to the 6th power, okay? So x to the 5th versus x to the 6th. Here, we're just multiplying the c's together, so we're just going to add the exponents. So 12 and -4, that makes 8, and 8 and 6 makes 14. So this would be c to the 14th power, okay? So again, try to go through these and check your answer as you go. So number 2, maybe pause it and see if you can come up with the answer for number 2 real quick, okay? So number 2, some of you guys can just do this in your head, but some people, it helps to write out, like, b to the 8th power means that you have 8 b's, okay? B to the 2nd power means you have 2 b's, and so these 2 are going to cancel, so you will have 6 b's left on the top, so b to the 6th power. Also, if it helps you to think about it this way, okay, I'm going to erase that. If I would move this b, and if this doesn't make sense to you, then just don't listen to this, okay? If I would move that b to the 2nd power up to the top, it would become b to the -2 power. And then these 2, I would just combine like I did over here, like c to the -4th and c to the 12th. I just add those, right? So 8 and -2 makes 6. So that's another way that you can think about it, but it'll just be b to the 6th power. Now, on the bottom is technically 1, but you don't have to have that 1 down there if there's nothing left. Okay, so b to the 6th power. Number 3, this is the scenario when you have the multiply. So all you're going to do is multiply the 4 and the 5, and that's a to the 20th power. Okay, so these ones are going kind of fast. Now we get something a little bit more complicated in these next ones. Okay, so these just chunk piece by piece. So I'm just going to worry about the x's together first. Don't even worry about the y's yet. Okay, the x's together. I have to fix the -2 power on the x because I want it to always be positive. So to do that, I have to move him down to the bottom, and he's going to become x to the +2. Okay, so he's gone from the top, and he's x to the +2 on the bottom, which makes him, if I combine these two, x to the 6th power. Okay, I have 2 bases, so it's like this problem where I'm just adding these exponents together, right? So 2 and 4 makes 6. Okay, now I deal with the y's. Okay, so here's my y's. And if I have y to the -1st power, I'm going to bump him to the top to make him y to the +1st power. But there's already a y to the +1st power, and that just makes y squared. So I have 2 y's on top and 6 x's on the bottom. Okay, and that's how that all works. Okay, so just do the x's together, the y's, or the x's by themselves, the y by themselves, and then just write your answer as one piece. Okay. Number 5, here we go. Now we have 3 things that we need to lump out. The first one is the 8 and the 4. I'm going to deal with that first, okay? So 8 and 4, if I reduce them, becomes 2 and 1. Okay, now the m's, okay? So I'm going to deal with the I'm going to deal with the m's now, okay? So I have 3 m's on the top and 1 m on the bottom, and none of those are negative exponents, so I don't need to necessarily move anything. So I have an m, an m, an m, and 1 m on the bottom. And these 2 are going to cancel, so I will have 2 remaining on the top, okay? Now my ends, I'm running out of room here. I have two ends on the top. Both of them, this is a +2 and a +3, so I don't have to move them top and bottom at all. Like I don't have to do like what I did over here, where I moved the -1 up. I don't have to do that, right? They're both positive, so I have two ends on the top and 3 ends on the bottom. Okay, these two are going to cancel, so I will have 1 left over on the bottom, so I'll just have n on the bottom. Okay, so that is completely simplified. If you want to write it as just 2m² over n, you don't necessarily need this one here. Whichever you prefer, whichever makes sense to you. Okay, so there's that, number 5. Okay, number 6. I'm going through these kind of fast, so I mean, if you need to pause, please do. Okay, all right, we're squaring this guy. And when we square, we have to square every single thing that's inside of here. There's 4 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we even square the bottom stuff. So I'm squaring, 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 all right? So let's write out what we get when we square. X squared squared. I multiply those together, so that becomes x to the 4th power. This y is going to become y squared, okay? Because his original exponent was 1, so if I take 2 times 1, that now makes that y squared, okay? This x will become x squared on the bottom, and y to the 3rd will become y to the 6th, because we're multiplying. Okay, now we just combine the x's. So I have 4 on the top, and I have 2 on the bottom, okay? And if you can do this without having to write this out, good for you. You just do it, okay? I will have 2 left over on the top, so that's x squared on the top, okay? For y's, I'll have 2 y's on the top and 6 y's on the bottom, okay? These two will cancel, so I'll have 4 left on the bottom and y to the 4th, okay? So again, some of you guys can do that without actually writing it out, and that is totally fine. There's my final answer, okay? All right, we're just combining stuff. All right, now let's go to combining like terms. Number 7. Okay, take a look at number 7 and decide, what operation are you doing? Are you multiplying? Are you adding? Are you subtracting? What are you doing, right? The symbol inside here will tell you, okay? I have a lot of people that try to FOIL this out or try to multiply those out because like they don't know that you're just supposed to subtract, okay? We don't want to multiply if we don't have to, right? Multiplying is a lot longer of a process, okay? So, but when we subtract, we have to be careful because we have to distribute the negative through. So this 4x squared becomes minus 4x squared. This becomes minus x, and this -3 becomes plus 3, okay? Then this 6x squared, he's just going to chill on the front, so I'm just going to rewrite him. So this part just gets rewritten. This gets the negative distributed through, and then we just combine like terms. So 6x squared minus 4x squared is positive 2x squared. Okay, I'm going to cross stuff off. Negative 3x minus x is minus 4x. And then positive 2, cross off. Positive 2 and positive 3 is positive 5. Okay, and I've gone in order, put everything together. Cross, cross, everything is gone, and it's all good to go. All right, that was number 7. That was subtraction. Okay, number 8. Okay, look at the problem and say, what operation are you doing? Do you have to multiply? Do you have to add? Do you have to subtract? Here, we're just adding, okay? Now, technically, you are distributing the positive sign through, just like we did with the negative, but it's not going to change the 6xy. It's just going to stay positive 6xy. A positive times a negative is going to leave this negative 4y squared, and a positive times a negative is going to leave this negative 3x squared, okay? So, really, this is not changing at all, and you're just really combining like terms. Some of you guys don't even write out this step again because you just add the stuff together, and that's fine. But if you need to write it out, just write both steps out. Just know that this does not change sign. This part does not change sign like it did in the last problem, okay? All right, wow, this is a mess. Okay, and this is where it gets a little tricky. Like, what goes first? I have like a y squared here, and I have an x squared, so what goes first, okay? And when you have that happening and you have x's and y's going on at the same time, it doesn't really matter which one you put first. So I'm just going to go from start to finish. I'm going to start with 7y squared. Okay, is there anything else I can add to 7y squared? Negative 4y squared, I think that's it. So 7 and negative 4 makes 3y squared. Okay, I'm just going in order. So the next piece is 12xy. Stuff that can go with him is 6xy, and that would be a positive 18xy. Okay, and those are gone. And then I have negative 5x squared and negative 3x squared, so that's negative 8x squared. So when you have like x's and y's going on at the same time, it doesn't matter what order you put them in. If you put them in a different order, that is totally fine for that one, okay? All right, that one we're just adding. Now we get to multiply. So number 9 is a multiply, okay? This is a binomial, it's 2 pieces, and this is just a monomial, it's just 1 piece. So here we're just distributing through. We don't have to FOIL, we just distribute it, we just multiply. So I take 2x times 3x squared, okay? 2 times 3 is 6, and x squared makes x to the 3rd power, okay? 2x times negative 5 is negative 10x, and there I am done. Okay, that's all there is to it. I can't combine any like terms. I can't do anything else, okay? So that was that product. We were just distributing, okay? Number 10 would be a good one to try on your own, so make sure you pause and try it on your own. And then we'll go through. This one is going to be kind of a FOIL, except we have it's like a big FOIL, right? This has 2 pieces, and this has 3 pieces. This is a binomial here and a trinomial here. And 2 times 3 makes 6 total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces total, okay, is what we're going to have before we combine like terms, okay? So when we multiply it, I'm going to take x times 2x squared. So that's 2x to the 3rd. X times negative 3x is negative 3x squared, okay? And x times 1 is 1x, okay? Or just x if you want to just put x, okay? Then I'm going to switch, and I'm going to go to this 1. 1 times 2x squared is a positive 2x squared. Don't forget your plus sign, okay? 1 times negative 3x is negative 3x, and 1 times 1 is 1, okay? So plus 1. Now I have all 6 pieces written out. I'm going to combine like terms from here. So this is the only x to the 3rd power that I have. So I'm just going to say 2x to the 3rd. He's gone. Okay, then I have this piece right here, negative 3x squared and positive 2x squared. Negative 3x and negative 3x squared and positive 2x squared is negative 1x squared, or just negative x squared. He's gone. Okay, then I have plus 1x minus 3x, so that's minus 2x. And then I just have plus 1 on the end. Okay, he's by himself. And there is my polynomial, okay, after we've multiplied them together. All right, so there's that part. So that was all section 4.1 stuff, okay? If we get done with study guide tomorrow ahead of time, like I don't think this backside takes very long. Well, maybe. We'll see. If we get done ahead of time, we might get some whiteboards out and do some work with, especially like these top problems, like 1 through 6. We'll do some exponent-y things, okay? All right. Okay, these would be good ones. Like if I go through number 11 all together, then like it wouldn't be a bad idea to attempt 12 and 13 by yourself. I'm going to do this out of order though. I'm going to do part C first, okay? And then D, and then we're going to go back to A and B. Here we go. So you don't have to do them out of order, but I'm going to. So we're taking this thing and we are dividing by x minus 3. Okay, so that means that like when I go to do my division stuff and I set this equal to 0, then that means x equals 3. Okay, I'm going to do C, and I'm going to see what my remainder should be if I were to divide them. Okay, I'm not going to divide yet. I'm going to do A and B last, but I'm going to see what my remainder should be. So if x equals 3, that just means I plug 3 into this equation right here. So 2 times 3 squared minus 5 times 3. Oh, and I've ran over that's a minus 3. Okay, minus 3. All right, do as much of this in your head as you can. 3 squared is 9, and 9 times 2 is 18. Okay, minus 5 times 3 is 15, minus 3. Okay, 18 minus 15 minus 3 is 0. That means I have 0 remainder. Okay, then I'm going to answer part D. If I have 0 as my remainder, is this a factor of this? Meaning, does this go into there perfectly? Yes. No remainder. Okay, there is no remainder, so yes, it is a factor. It goes in there perfectly. All right, now knowing that might help me for part A and B a little bit better to do the long and synthetic division. Okay, so let's do long division first. X minus 3. Here I don't use the equal 3. I use the x minus 3. And I set the rest of it up. Okay. All right. And then we say, what do we multiply by x to get 2x squared? We need a 2 and an x. And then I multiply it back through. So 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times minus 3 is minus 6x. Okay. All right. Then we have to go through and flip the sign. So this becomes minus and this becomes plus. And this cancels, and negative 5x and positive 6x becomes 1x, and then I drop the minus 3 down. Okay, and then we get one more step. I'm going to get rid of those guys. What do you take times x to get 1x? We need a 1, okay, but don't just put 1 there, put a plus 1, okay? 1 times x is 1x. Oh, I'm just going to say 1x. And 1 times negative 3 is negative 3, but then I have to flip the signs, so minus plus. And this cancels and this cancels, which means I have 0 remainder. So what's the answer? This part, 2x plus 1. There we go. Okay, now my synthetic division should end up being exactly the same answer, right? Just in a different way, all right? So here, when I do synthetic, I have to set up my little bar going this way, okay? And 3 goes on the outside, not x minus 3, 3, x equals 3, okay? Then I do my coefficients, my numbers that go in front of the x's. So I'm going to start with 2, and then I go to negative 5, then I go to negative 3, and those are my 3 numbers that I have, okay? All right, synthetic division is fast. You drop the 2 down, 2 goes here. 3 times 2 is 6, that goes here. Add those 2 together, that becomes 1, and 3 times 1 is 3, and that becomes 0, so there's my remainder, okay? All right, now we have to put the x's back in. So I had an x squared, and I was dividing by an x, so that means that this guy should just have an x, and this guy shouldn't have any number or any x's on the end of it, so it's just 2x plus 1, just like we had there, okay? If you got 2 different answers, you did one of them wrong, because they should end up being the same thing, long and synthetic division. And it should be consistent with having no remainder, because that's what we got in part C, okay? All right, 12 and 13. I'm going to go through these kind of fast. Pause this and try to do them on your own, just so you can get the practice in. But part C, I'm going to do first. So here, if we're dividing by m plus 2, m equals negative 2, okay? So m equals negative 2. I'm going to plug that into here. So I have negative 2 squared minus 3 times negative 2 minus 7. Okay, negative 2 squared is a positive 4. This becomes positive 6, and this becomes that's just minus 7. 4 plus 6 is 10, minus 7 is 3, so my remainder is 3. If I have a remainder of 3, does this go in here perfectly? No. There is a remainder. Okay, all right, and my remainder is 3, so it doesn't go in there perfectly. I'm going to have 3 as my remainder. Okay, all right, if that was fast, pause. I'm going to go to A, and I'm going to do my long division. Here we go. M squared minus 3m minus 7, and m plus 2 on the outside. Okay, all right, what do we take times m to get m squared? That's just an m, and we multiply it back through. So that becomes m squared plus 2m, and then we flip the sign. Okay, this cancels. Negative 3m plus 2m is negative 1m, and then I drop my minus 7 down. All right, now starting over, we have to say, what do we take times m to get negative 1m? I need a negative 1. And then I multiply back through, so negative 1 times m, negative 1m, and negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. Then I flip the signs, don't forget that, plus, okay, and I did not get the same answer. Why did I not get the same answer? 3. 3 is what my remainder should be. What did I do wrong? Negative 1, because here my remainder is negative 5. What did I not do? Goodness. Did I plug something in wrong? I plugged in a negative 2. Negative 2 squared is 4. Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6, and that's 10 minus 7 is 3. What's the matter? I should not have that as my remainder. What did I do wrong? Somebody figure out what I did wrong. M. Oh, I know what I did wrong. Back up. Sorry if you've been watching me the whole time. I made my mistake. Hold on. I made my mistake right here. Right there. Okay, let's go back. Erase, back up. If you've been yelling at the screen the whole time saying I've been doing it wrong, you're right. I have been doing it wrong. Back up. Okay, here we go. So m, we said we started with m times m is m squared, and m times 2 is a positive 2m. Here we go. Then I switch my signs, so this becomes minus, this becomes minus, not plus. This then is negative 5m. That's the problem. That's the problem. Okay, now I begin again. There we go. All right. Then what do I take times m to get negative 5m? I need a negative 5. Okay, negative 5 times m is negative 5m. And negative 5 times 2 is negative 10. And then I flip my signs. So this becomes plus and this becomes plus. And negative 7 plus 10 is 3. So my remainder is plus 3 over x plus 2. So this is my whole answer right here. Okay, so that just goes to show you, for one, I make mistakes too, and we were able to find where I did it. But for two, look at how like resourceful finding the remainder is to begin with, because you know what the answer should be, right? If I would not have known that that would have been a 3, I would have gotten like an answer here, had like 5 as my remainder or whatever, and then got a different answer for synthetic division, and then I'd be really stuck. I'm like, where did I go wrong, right? So knowing that I can check my remainder and know what the answer is ahead of time, that makes it super, super, super nice, okay? So there we go. All right, we fixed it. All right, now synthetic division, here we go. Negative 2 goes on the outside, and I have, okay, my coefficients are here. Coefficients are 1, negative 3, and negative 7. Okay, so 1, negative 3, and negative 7. Here we go. Now we do our 1 down, multiply these, that's negative 2, add these, that's negative 5, right? Like kind of the same steps here, negative 5. Then I multiply those, and that's positive 10, and add those, and that is positive 3, and that's my remainder, okay? So again, we have an m squared divided by an m. Oh, this should be an m, by the way. So this is an m, this is a number, and this is my remainder. So I have 1m, or just m minus 5, plus my remainder of 3 over m plus 2, which is what I was dividing by. Same answer as what I got up here, and it's consistent with the 3 remainder, and no, it's not a factor, okay? All right, last one, here we go. I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm starting with c, because then I can find my mistakes. All right, if x plus 3 is what we're dividing by, then x equals negative 3. And I'm going to plug negative 3 in for c. Equals negative 3. All right, so I've got 2 times, I'm plugging it into here, 2 times negative 3 to the third power plus 3 times negative 3 squared minus 10 times negative 3 minus 3, okay? All right, this is a mess. Negative 3 to the third power is negative 27. That times 2 is negative 54. Negative 3 squared is 9, and 9 times 3 is a positive 27. Negative 10 times negative 3 is a positive 30, and then minus 3. Oh, heavens. Okay. Negative 54 plus 27 is a negative 27. Negative 27 plus 3, or plus 30 is 3, and 3 and a negative 3 makes 0, so 0 remainder. Is it a factor? Yes. No remainder. Okay, so I know I'm looking for no remainder. All right, here we go. Let's long divide. If I'm going too fast, pause. Long division. Here we go. X plus 3 goes on the outside. This one's a long one, because it's x to the third power instead. Okay, but I know should go in there evenly, so no remainder. Here we go. What do you take times x to get 2x to the third power? I needed 2x squared. Multiply it back is 2x cubed plus 6x squared. And you guys are cautiously trusting me. Like, she made a mistake before, so she might make one again. Let's check. All right, 3 minus 6 is negative 3x squared. Drop the 10 down. Okay, and then we start over. What do you take times x to get negative 3x squared? Is negative 3x, multiply it through. Okay, negative 3x squared and then that should be negative 9x, but then we flip the sign. All right, and negative 10 and positive 9 is negative x minus 3, okay? All right, it's looking pretty good so far. What do you take times x to get negative x? We need a negative 1, and we multiply it back through, so negative 1x and minus 3, but then flip the signs. Does it end up canceling out to 0? Yep, it does. So this is what we end up with. 2x squared minus 3x minus 1. Okay, all right, synthetic division, here we go. On the outside of my synthetic division goes negative 3, because we're dividing by plus 3, and then my coefficients are 2, 3, negative 10, negative 3. 2, 3, negative 10, negative 3. There we go. All right, drop the 2 down. We're almost done. This multiplied is negative 6. Add is negative 3. Multiplied is positive 9. Whoa. Add is negative 1. Multiply is positive 3. Add is 0. Okay. All right, then I start this. It was x to the third divided by an x, so this guy will be x squared. This guy will have an x, and that won't have anything. So just 2x squared minus 3x minus 1. Let's check that with the top one. 2x squared minus 3x minus 1. Perfect. Okay, all done. Look at all that work. Man, oh man, that's crazy. All right, that was the front side. There you go. If you want to attempt and try to do some on the back side, you'll be kind of ahead of the game if there's time remaining in the class. Go for it.